Hello, Thrivers. Welcome back. Today, I want to talk about 5 behaviors that narcissists would love to keep you stuck in and keep you from growing to the point that you get to be your best self. How do they do this and why? Right? Because it doesn't make sense in any relationship if one person starts to better themselves, right? That should result in something positive with the other person, is something that should benefit all of your relationships in every aspect of your life. The problem is that if you're with somebody that's high on the scale of covert malignant narcissism, bettering yourself is not something that results in a positive. So let's dive into how and why that is and what 5 behaviors they would love to keep you stuck in. With that in mind, for those that don't know me, my name is Michele. I'm a life and relationship coach. I specialize in helping people overcome narcissistic abuse, childhood trauma, and complex PTSD. I'm also the founder of the Thriver School of Transformation, which is a monthly membership where we meet live on Zoom every week, and we do this inner work together. So if you're tired of feeling alone on this healing journey, make sure you check out the school. The doors did just close because they're only open the first 5 days of every month. So be on the lookout for when the next opening begins. Okay, and that will be April 1st to the 5th. Okay, so let's talk about the 5 behaviors, first of all, that narcissists would love to keep you stuck in. And I'm not saying that these are the only behaviors that they would love to keep you stuck in, but these are 5 super, super common ones that even if you didn't exhibit them before the narcissistic relationship, you find that they're almost becoming your personality. Okay, so what are they? Number 1 is putting the perspective of the narcissist up here and your perspective down here. In other words, you put so much into what they say, how they feel, and you minimize or don't even consider your perspective. Most people that enter a relationship with a narcissist don't tend to have clear boundaries because maybe they were raised in such a way that they weren't allowed to have boundaries. And narcissists love people that don't have boundaries. And that's how they want it to stay. Number 3 is self-abandonment, okay, when it comes to narcissistic relationships. And again, a lot of this comes from childhood trauma. If you had to sacrifice you in childhood, like you weren't allowed to have your thoughts, you weren't allowed to have your feelings, you weren't allowed to be you. In order to make your parent happy, you learned to sacrifice your authenticity to make them happy. And that's something that can continue in relationships even as you become an adult. Abandoning self. In other words, your wants don't matter, your needs don't matter, your passions don't matter. In essence, you don't matter. You sacrifice you constantly in an effort to make the other person happy. Number 4 is craving external validation. A lot of these relationships train you, especially if they happen in childhood, they train you to need external validation because in childhood, you needed external validation, like you should have had it, okay? But if you didn't, if your parent did not validate you, then you never learned how to self-validate. Their external dialogue that they said to you, if they had, right? If they had validated you externally, would have become your internal dialogue. Without that, you get stuck in craving and needing external validation by the narcissist, who again, along with the first point that I made, their perspective is up here and yours is way down here. And the last behavior that narcissists would love for you to stay stuck in is reacting instead of responding. Okay, so let's talk about why they want this to take place and then how they keep you stuck there. The reason that the narcissist doesn't want you to change, and this is unlike any healthy relationship, right? Because if you're in a relationship with somebody that has certain personality characteristics that are limiting, that are bringing that person down, right? That are depriving them of being happy, and that person works on those things, that's like automatically going to make you happy, right? Seeing their growth and them wanting to be the best person they want to be, normally under healthy conditions, is a positive thing. But with a narcissist, they don't see things in a healthy way. And this is what it's hard to wrap your mind around. But if you don't wrap your mind around it and you continue to look at them the way you would look at a healthy person and hope that they will act like a healthy person, the more you're going to set yourself up for disappointment. The reason why narcissists don't support you when you're getting healthy, the reason they don't want you to be involved in personal growth, is because if you get better and you learn how to have healthy boundaries and you learn how to respond and you learn how to not self-abandon, but how to really fuel yourself from within, and you learn and develop a sense of agency, then that means that they are stuck looking at themselves. Okay, narcissists, when they don't like anything in themselves, they fling it onto you. But if you develop emotional strength and emotional health, you get healthier, right? And you put down those boundaries, not only physical, but emotional and energetic, right? Which means their energy, that negative energy that they're trying to fling on you, you leave as theirs. And you stay in the boundaries of your emotions, of your energetic state, of your self-identity. They hate that because that means they're stuck seeing them. Also, when you get better, right, and you stop getting sucked into this drama battle that they create, and you stop the loops of conversations that have no clear direction, that never end up in resolution, that only cause more anguish to you, when you stop all of those behaviors and you are a healthy individual, then that blows their false reality out of the water. They have this false reality that they are amazing and you are a problem. But if you get healthier and healthier, that takes that reality and it blows it out of the water. And sadly, anyone high on the scale of malignant narcissism doesn't want that to happen. This is why if you had a narcissistic parent, the more healthy you got, the worse they got, the more abusive they became, because what they're trying to do is wake up or touch on those old wounds that cause you to go into those trauma behaviors of people pleasing, of external validation, of sacrificing self for others. They're trying to provoke you to live in your trauma responses, to live in your protective self instead of your authentic self, so that they can keep their false reality alive. That's why in a romantic relationship, the healthier you get, the worse the abuse gets in the beginning. It doesn't get better. It gets worse in the relationship, but you begin to feel different. You begin to feel better. Okay. And it all has to do with the fact that anyone high on the scale of malignant narcissism wants to keep their reality the way it is. They want to keep you as the problem in their mind so that they never have to look at themselves, so that they never have to do any of the inner work, because after all, it's all your fault. You're the one with all the problems. Okay. That's the why. Now, I know that that doesn't make sense, because why would a parent want to do that to a child? Why would a parent not be happy for a child that's growing emotionally, that's getting themselves together? Normal parents aren't like that. And that's where you have to just understand that narcissistic abuse doesn't make sense through the lens of normal relationships. Okay, if they're high on the scale, that's who they are. So that's the why behind it. Now, how do they do this? Narcissists will keep you stuck in those behaviors through classical conditioning. In other words, if you are still in the relationship with the malignant narcissist, whether it's a work relationship, a romantic relationship, or you're an adult child of a narcissistic parent, every time you engage in one of these negative behaviors, self-abandonment, lack of boundaries, reacting, the narcissist will reward you. Classical conditioning is done with punishment and rewards. So if you stay in the behaviors they want you to stay in, they will reward you with a let up of abuse. All of a sudden, you explode. You just can't take it anymore. And you're human, right? There's only so much a person can take. They keep poking and poking. You explode, and then they calm down. And they're like, let's work this out. Let's work together. And they flip their personality to be, to be willing to work things through. Without realizing it, when they do that all the time, your brain is starting to notice exploding brings about something positive. There's a let up of abuse, things get calm. And since our brain is designed to push us towards pleasure and away from pain, we start exploding faster and faster and faster. Okay, because the reward system of your brain is being activated. And every time you're fighting now, your brain's like, oh, explode, things are going to get better. And obviously, this is all done on an unconscious level. It's not like you're logically saying this. Okay, whereas if you're calm, if you stay calm and you handle it in a healthy way, they get worse to the degree that I've heard some people explain it like feeling like they would rather pull out all the hairs in their head just to get that person to shut up, just to get them to stop the never-ending monologue. Or the emotional pain of the silent treatment is so painful that the person wants to do anything to stop that punishment. Just to kind of throw this in there, this would be for a whole nother video, but in order to overcome the pain of the silent treatment, it's about working through the beliefs that you make the silent treatment mean. Okay, now that I'll leave that for a whole nother video. Okay, but that's what they do. They punish you for your positive behaviors and your positive steps forward. They reward you for staying in negative and disempowering to you behaviors. And the problem with that is having the strength and courage to move forward, to grow, to thrive becomes intertwined with your coping skills, and it becomes intertwined with survival, with your fight or flight. And then because of narcissistic abuse, and this is, I'm stuttering, this is so damaging. The reason it's so damaging, narcissistic abuse, is how much it messes up your wires within your brain, okay, your neural pathways, because you can then be out of the relationship and still struggle to have healthy behavior patterns, because every time you start to engage in a healthy behavior, your fight or flight, your amygdala kicks on, and it floods you with such uncomfortable feelings that it almost feels better to not move forward, to not develop healthy behaviors. And then you stay stuck in that broken emotional state that a narcissist can put you in. And I've seen people stuck there for years and even decades. That's how powerful their punishment and rewards can be with your ability to grow personally and to overcome the behaviors that they trained and conditioned you to stay stuck in. Okay, so in this video, I talked about why they do it. I talked about how they do it, but I want you to know that you can break free. You can break out of that state. You can break free out of the cycles that they keep you stuck in, but it does require rewiring your brain. It does require breaking out of the conditioned behaviors, the conditioned thought patterns that they keep you stuck in. And it does require teaching your body the neurochemistry of how you want to feel when it comes to personal growth and healthy behaviors. And all of that can be challenging. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to tell you 1, 2, 3 and it's over. But I will tell you this, it is so worth it, because if you're not willing to do that rewiring process, you can stay stuck in the broken state that they left you in, and no one deserves that. The abuse from them wasn't deserved. 100% wasn't deserved, and it wasn't your fault. If you're out of all relationships and you're still stuck, even though it wasn't your fault that it happened, now it's your responsibility to help yourself to get to a place where you can be your best self, your authentic self. And if you need help, and if you don't want to do this alone and the videos aren't enough, remember to check out the Thriver School of Transformation. We're an international group of people. We meet together live on Zoom weekly, and we do the inner work together. And it's so nice to hear the experiences of people. And it's so nice to share your experience with people that get it. Sometimes it can feel like you're talking a foreign language when you try to explain to people what it's like to work through narcissistic abuse. But in this group of people, we get it. So if you need more assistance, make sure you check out the school. Again, you have to watch for when the doors are open. They're only open the first 5 days of each month.